Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Foreign Affairs Minister formalizes diplomatic relations with Lithuania. The disabled community to soon enjoy the convenience of easier access to all the amenities in Trinidad and Tobago. And the International Conference on Population and Development Program to improve human welfare and promote sustainable development for the people. Thank you for joining us. Foreign Affairs Minister, the Honorable Winston Dookeran, formalized diplomatic relations with Lithuania, signed late on Wednesday with the Foreign Minister of Lithuania, Audronius Azubalis. The minister also held bilateral discussions with Singapore's Foreign Affairs Minister, Professor Jayakumar Shanmugam, and Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration of Ghana, Muhammad Mumuni. The minister also attended a meeting with COFCOR to narrow down and concretize the CARICOM issues that will go before the General Assembly.
A toast and a handshake to celebrate the formalization of diplomatic relations between Trinidad and Tobago and Lithuania, signed in New York late Wednesday between the foreign ministers of both countries, with Minister Winston Dookeran saying that this new initiative widens the scope of Trinidad and Tobago's diplomatic relations.
And this is but a next step in ensuring that our presence in the European region is one that can reap benefits to both of us.
Through the minister, he thanked Lithuania for supporting Trinidad and Tobago's Resolution 6569, which calls on the UN to take decisive action against the illicit trade in small arms and light weapons that affect women and girls. In response, the Lithuanian Foreign Minister, Audronius Azubalis, thanked Trinidad and Tobago for supporting its candidature as a member of the Security Council, saying that there is wisdom in securing the common good through collaboration.
And sometimes we see even the bigger countries trying to play, trying to push to one or another side. And that's why I think that the small countries as we are, we should support each other.
Similar sentiments were expressed when the minister held bilateral discussions with the Singaporean delegation, reiterating the close ties between the two nations and pledging to deepen the friendship.
And I am particularly happy that Singapore has decided to organize a symposium at this conference on the issue of small states. And as Trinidad and Tobago, we look forward, because we ourselves have been taking certain initiatives to build a greater political space for small states in the world around us.
We have similar challenges. We see the world in similar ways. Rule of law and international law is important. And we emphasize that we meet together, and we are very grateful that Minister has agreed to take part and be a panelist and share with us and everyone else his experiences.
And the bilateral closed with Ghana, with whom Trinidad and Tobago has a long-standing relationship and with whom energy talks are in progress. But the issue that is gaining traction here at the UN is a reassessment of the role of the Security Council.
And more specifically, we discuss the issue as coming together and supporting each other in our efforts to change the architecture of the Security Council to make it more reflective of today's world.
To strengthen its peacekeeping efforts, to make sure that the Security Council becomes even more efficient in the way it works.
In between, the Trinidad and Tobago Foreign Minister attended a meeting of COFCOR, trying to narrow down and concretize the CARICOM issues that will go before the General Assembly. So in the midst of all that is taking place here at the United Nations, how is this GA benefiting the Caribbean in terms of the bread and butter issues like climate change, the global economy, poverty alleviation, and health issues? Will it end with a bag full of deliverables or a bin of broken promises? From the United Nations in New York, this is Gideon Hanumansing reporting.
Thank you very much, Gideon. The disabled community will soon enjoy the convenience of easier access to all the amenities in Trinidad and Tobago. This from Minister of the People and Social Development, Dr. Glenn Ramadasing, who delivered the feature address at the Disability Affairs Unit, furthering access for the disabled community in Trinidad and Tobago.
Scores of disabled persons receive their bus passes and TT cards courtesy the Ministry of the People and Social Development. This initiative is in line with government's move to ensure the disabled community is allowed the convenience of all the amenities in this country. Speaking at the Disability Affairs Unit, furthering access for the disabled community in Trinidad and Tobago was Social Development Minister Dr. Glenn Ramadasing, who announced that following an ongoing systematic audit, some 5,000 undeserving persons have been removed from the food card list to accommodate persons who are really in need of it.
You don't call on the radio anymore. Call the Ministry of the People. 804 PPL. And you will get an automatic food card because you need it probably more than some of the others that are on the program. Now, while we bring you on, I'm serving notice on those fellas with black SUVs and big bank accounts. This is not for you. This is for people who need it.
Director of Disability Affairs Unit of the Ministry of Social Development, Michael Reed, who also spoke at the event, says there are several new initiatives already being undertaken by government to ensure access to the disabled in society.
We have been meeting with the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards to ensure that there are accessibility codes for buildings so that persons with disabilities would have easy access to buildings, to the built environment in Trinidad and Tobago. Today, you're going to hear more about accessing the buses in Trinidad and Tobago. The PTSC has acquired some buses, especially for persons with disabilities, and coming on later on, hopefully later on this year, you'd hear a lot more about it, and that system will be launched.
Also sharing his experience was Kern Tyson, who says more can be done for persons who are visually impaired as himself.
They told me, without really saying it, you really can't get a card because you're blind, because they began to tell you the reasons why you couldn't get the card and so on. So I'm hoping that one day that will not be an issue in Trinidad and Tobago. Fine, I went to another bank and I got the card, but I should be able to walk into a bank and just say, look, I want a card, and I have the prerequisites to get it. And blindness or disability should not be an issue. I long for that day.
Vuna Bharat, News 4.
News 4 continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The International Conference on Population and Development Program, the ICPD, plans to improve human welfare and promote sustainable development for the people. The Ministry of Planning held a stakeholder consultation on the global survey ICPD Beyond 2014 and says it acknowledges the inextricable link between population and development issues, and as such, relevant issues will be addressed to establish a meaningful and effective population policy.
The Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development believes that emphasis must be placed on population size, growth, population age structure and demographic components such as fertility, migration and mortality. As a means of strengthening our national capacity, the ICPD Global Survey Beyond 2014 brings to the forefront the importance of empowering citizens to make more choices through expanded access to education and health services and promoting skill development and employment.
In employment, there has been the implementation of a policy for national life skills curriculum for personal development and employment enhancement. The policy provides mechanisms for the coordination, management, institutionalization, and sustainability of life skills to all out-of-school training programs. Complementing this, we have the HYPE, the OJT, which provides young job seekers with critical work experience for career development, and the multi-sector skills training program providing youth with technical vocational skills. We have also made some strides in terms of poverty reduction and family life, and we see that the poverty reduction and family life are intertwined in many of these programs and policies. Families have access to social assistance grants. The delivery of social services has been decentralized to increase the level of access to our clients.
The last survey that was undertaken for the Caribbean in 2009 reveals significant achievements in the areas of sexual and reproductive health and rights. Emphasis on other areas remains on the youth, ensuring that they can achieve their full potential.
The policy provides mechanisms for the coordination, management, institutionalization, and sustainability of life skills to all out-of-school training programs. Complementing this, we have the HYPE, the OJT, which provides young job seekers with critical work experience for career development, and the multi-sector skills training program providing youth with technical vocational skills. We have also made some strides in terms of poverty reduction and family life, and we see that the poverty reduction and family life are intertwined in many of these programs and policies. Families have access to social assistance grants. The delivery of social services has been decentralized to increase the level of access to our clients. The establishment of the Children's Authority, which promotes the welfare and protection of all children, especially those who are at risk and vulnerable.
Other notable achievements include our relatively low unemployment rate, our universal secondary primary education, reduction in our poverty levels, ability of family planning services, and the implementation of a workplace policy of HIV and AIDS are just some, to make a few. This marks a critical step in reducing the HIV stigma and discrimination, along with providing the overall trust towards prevention care and support.
We have in education the government assistance for tuition expenses, known as GATE program, which allows individuals free access to tertiary level education, whilst the construction of early childhood care and education centers is aimed at achieving universal early childhood education. In health, we have universal access to public services, an increased number of district health centers, and the Chronic Disease Assistance Program, which provides citizens with free prescription drugs and other pharmaceutical items necessary to combat chronic diseases.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago has implemented and endorsed several policies and programs in support of the ICPD Plan of Action. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
The Institute of Marine Affairs is currently hosting its 12th Research Symposium. The mission seeks to give researchers a chance to showcase their many unique studies conducted on this country's marine life. On hand for the opening of the forum was Minister in the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, Ramona Ramdial, who says such studies are vital in providing a better understanding for the care of our marine resources.
Numerous marine biologists and experts got a chance to present their hard work and compilation of studies conducted as the Institute of Marine Affairs opened its 12th annual research symposium. Opening the two-day forum themed Managing Coastal Resources, Minister in the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources Ramona Ramdial commends the works conducted as it has the potential to outline areas in need of attention in the marine and wetland ecosystem.
In this regard, this government took a cabinet decision in January 2012 to appoint this multi-sectorial stakeholder committee which comprises of the ICZN. This cabinet-appointed committee was given the mandate to devise an integrated coastal zone management policy framework, strategies, and action plan for this country, and I may add that the IMA, along with other sister agencies, are leading this initiative.
The minister says government intends to push for all stakeholders to become more than just eco-friendly in its approach to conducting business, but to be mindful in leaving a green footprint.
We are equally aware of the constant need to guard against unwanted effects which can, in the long run, jeopardize these said developmental aspirations and indeed our livelihoods. Part of our vision is to balance the need for economic growth, yet to do so with a green footprint. It is for this reason we will be concentrating our efforts on the green economy and encouraging a participative stakeholder approach to our economic policies.
She adds one of the things government intends to do upon the convening of Parliament is a piloting of legislation that will govern changes in the management of our coastal environment.
We will be laying the beverage container bill during the months of November, December of this year. So that is also some of our strict environmental laws that we're going to start instituting within the framework of our legislative duties.
The research symposium focuses on sharing key data collated over the past year from researchers studying the local marine environment. Director of the Institute of Marine Affairs, Dr. Amoy Lomkong, says such forums provide an avenue for researchers to highlight their studies and its relevance.
It affords an opportunity for our researchers to obtain feedback on their research in terms of its quality, its relevance, and significance. In so doing, it is also hoped that this symposium will serve as a catalyst to guide future research for the benefit of Trinidad and Tobago and indeed the wider Caribbean.
The Institute of Marine Affairs is mandated under the Act Chapter 3701 to provide research for the formulation of coherent and consistent policies for the conservation and management of the country's marine resources. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
News 4 continues after the break. Stay with us. Inspiring 84 runs off 77 balls by opening batsman Johnson Charles helped the West Indies to a 16-run victory against England in their opening Super 8s match at the 2012 ICC World 2020 tournament. Johnson and fellow opener Jamaican Chris Gayle shared a 103-run partnership with Gale's 58 runs, making him the only other West Indian to score more than a half-century. Windies eventually set a total of 179 for 5 in their 20 overs, with Stuart Broad proving to be the best bowler for England, taking 2 Windies wickets for 26 runs. England's Ian Morgan made a brilliant unbeaten 71 from 36 balls to give England a chance of victory. But a final over wicket by Marlon Samuels denied the Lions their chance to win this Group 1 match. In this group, the West Indies will also meet New Zealand and Sri Lanka, the latter being their next opponents. Sri Lanka and the West Indies meet this Saturday. In other news, Trade Minister Senator the Honorable Vasant Bharat says the entire Caribbean region, including Trinidad and Tobago, has ranked low on the Global Ease of Doing Business ranking. Speaking at the Caribbean Academy for Law and Court Administration earlier this week, the Trade Minister announced that there will be discussion on measures to be taken to possibly improve the international competitiveness of the Caribbean.
According to the annual Ease of Doing Business rankings prepared by the World Bank, the Caribbean regional average in 2012 stands at number 81 out of 183 countries worldwide. This is far below the 48th position enjoyed by Asian Pacific countries, the 38th position enjoyed by those in the European Union, and the 29th position for those in the OECD.
Trade Minister Vasant Bharat speaking at the opening ceremony of the second International Law Seminar of the Caribbean Academy for Law and Court Administration at the Hyatt Regency. Minister Bharat says within the ease of doing business methodology is the important pillar of enforcing contracts, which measures the efficiency of the judicial system in member states in resolving commercial disputes. He is also highlighting the urgent need for the Caribbean to increase its efficiency and productivity while pledging to personally work towards achieving this goal.
Almost all serious technical analysis of the Caribbean's development prospects identifies the need for the region to increase its productivity and efficiency. This is an area that I am personally focusing on with regard to most of my energies in my dual portfolios of Minister of Trade, Industry and Investment and Minister in the Ministry of Finance and Economy here in Trinidad and Tobago.
The Trade Minister says he understands that the successful and beneficial outcome of any trade agreement rests on the ability to enforce its rules. However, he says the ultimate goal is prosperity for the Caribbean.
Beyond all of the technical and legal discussions you will have this week on such stimulating topics, I'm told, as the WTO law and jurisprudence, or dispute settlement of the multilateral and plurilateral trading systems, or even the original jurisdiction of the CCJ, and the many others which may arise as a result of the intersection of international law and international economics. I urge that the main consideration behind all of these legal agreements be the improvement of the well-being and the prosperity of all of the peoples of our Caribbean.
Veena Bharat, News 4.
News 4 continues after the break. Stay with us. As we wrap up, there are plans to extend the government's laptop program for secondary school children to the primary schools of the nation. This was revealed by Dr. the Honorable Tim Gopi Singh as he delivered laptops to Form 1 students at 2 Port of Spain schools.
St. Mary's College and St. Joseph Convent students have been the latest recipients of the government's laptop distribution program, as the Form 1 students at those schools were gifted the HP Pro 4440 laptops. Minister Gopi Singh, addressing the students at St. Mary's College, reiterates this government's commitment to providing youths in Trinidad and Tobago with the best possible education in the world.
I am pleased, as your Minister of Education, that our government's ongoing commitment to our nation's children is being aptly demonstrated by these rewards of free laptops and scholarships. For it proves that we will, at any cost, ensure that you, our students, the future of our nation, are equipped with the best resources to attain the best education available to anyone, not only nationally, but internationally and globally. You are receiving one of the best education that any child will receive at any part of the world at your age. Yes, you are.
By the end of this week, the ministry would have completed the distribution of approximately 17,400 laptops to students throughout the nation. Dr. Gopi Singh reminds students that the program will greatly assist in preparing them for the world of work.
The Ministry of Education's policy in giving laptops to our students is one which aims at poverty reduction, equality students, so that the poor students in your class can receive a laptop, and so there must be equality in our education system, ensuring our children are well equipped for the global world of technology that now dominates our landscape. So you must be adequately prepared for the world of work in the future.
Minister Gopi Singh also reveals that after examining the use of technology in schools in Uruguay and the growth of their education system, he has now begun looking at introducing technology to students at even the primary school level.
So while we are working with our secondary school students, we are also now looking actively for having possibly tablets for our primary school students. And we are now having a tender out with the Central Tenders Board to provide Wi-Fi facilities for all the secondary schools in Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean. So that you will be able to see in your classroom you will be able to stay in your classroom and use the computer where you are. Give me about 2 to 3 months again, and hopefully most of it should be introduced into the schools.
The minister is once again urging students not to misuse the laptops. He asks that students recognize how fortunate they are and not abuse that good fortune.
So students, I can therefore urge you and your parents to please take care of these laptops and ensure that you use them for your educational development. Yes, for your educational development. And recognize how fortunate you are to be the first generations in our nation history to have access to such resources from the state free of charge.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.